Hi, folks, and welcome to Aches and Games, a relaxed monthly check-in between two slightly older British friends, talking life, gaming, and whatever else comes to mind. We've got a fun and festive episode for you this month as we gear up for Christmas and also look back on our first year as a podcast. More of that later, but we'll also be talking about last month's Game of the Month, which was Call of Duty Black Ops, and the Chaos Engine, a double bill. Will we do that again? Let's see. And we'll reveal December's choice for Game of the Month and share what we've been playing and what we've been up to. Before we dive in, a quick reminder that between episodes you can find us on most social platforms at Aches and Games, or email us on achesandgamespod@gmail.com or on our website achesandgames.co.uk. I'm Giles Nicholson. Giles went west on most things. Joining me as ever is my good friend James Hopes. James, are you proud of me? I got the website right this one.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I thought you paused in the middle and then when again get stuck, but you were fine, so it's all good. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And nice to see your Christmas pudding hat and festive jumper and festive background, all expenses spared. No expenses spared. So, yeah, whichever one makes sense. It's all good. I'm James, Giles' friend from the olden days of secondary school, back in the 70s or 80s or whatever it was. You can find me on various social media things, which is You Have to Laugh with number 2 for my old social medias, from my old parenting blog when Josh was young, but no, he's not, incredibly old at 10. And also I run the website, which Giles has correctly mentioned already, and the Facebook page and other bits and pieces as well, which I can't quite remember. And I'm on PlayStation Network as Jamesy Boy 1978 and Xbox as Jamesy Boy 78 with 4 random digits, which we'll come on to in a minute, because that nearly messed us up the other day when we were playing Call of Duty Zombies. But there we go. That's me. How are you?
Yes, I'm well. Yeah, that was a little awkward, wasn't it? There's surprisingly, unlike the Highlander, there can be about 6,000 James Hopeses by the sounds of it. So, glad I found you in the end. And I'm well, thank you. Looking forward to Christmas and celebrating our year. Very exciting. Looking forward to reminiscing a little bit over our first year and talking about what we maybe some of the highlights and slightly lower points along the way. But keeping it more recent, how's your month been? What have you been up to?
It's actually been all right. It's been quite busy. Obviously, we've just started December now, as you know, because the pod comes out very soon, because we always like leaving it to the last minute because we're so busy, and Giles likes living on the edge and editing it at the last second and making sure it all goes perfectly well, like I did last month and every other month, obviously. So this month we've done a few things. We've met up, didn't we, which is quite exciting, which is nice. We had a nice dinner out in one of Giles's local country pubs, which is very pleasant. What was it called? The Warren? Is it the Warren?
The Warren, yes. So they're not sponsoring, so let's not give them too much credit. No. But how was your journey home, James?
Yeah, really good. Completely smooth, plain sailing. So it took 25 minutes to get there and about 2.5 hours to get home, annoyingly. We left the pub quite early, about 10:15. It wasn't a wild night, it was just some nice food and a bit of a chit-chat, and we should have been home by about 11:15, but we were home at 2:30 in the morning in the end, which is very irritating because the motorway was closed, and then it went down to one lane to find out that the junction itself wasn't closed. It was just down to one lane, took you off the junction and brought you back onto the same junction a few metres down the road, and that caused 2.5 hours of cowback nightmares. However, obviously the good company was more than worth the effort of 3 hours in a car in the dark and misery. Definitely worth the effort. No contest. Definitely. That's good. Did you enjoy it, Giles? You enjoyed it, I guess, hopefully?
Yeah, I mean, we had a short journey home, so it was less of a challenge. But maybe we should come in your direction next time, and we'll have to endure the same sort of journey back, or ideally just a smoother journey. No, it was really nice to see you guys, and we've had a few nice meals out this month. We saw my sister as well and family as well, and a few weekends away and stuff, so we've had a good time. How about you? What have you been up to?
Yeah, well, yesterday I had our first work Christmas do, the first of 3. So I had one yesterday, I've got one next week and another one next week, because I'm in different management teams and different groups of people doing different things. So last night was really good. We went to Covent Garden to a restaurant called Bodian's Barbecue? Bodian's? Don't know how you pronounce it, but it was very nice. I had something called a Boston Butt, which involved pulled pork and some slaw and some chips, which is very pleasant. And also an excessive number of cocktails and alcoholic beverages throughout the evening. So it didn't work out that well in terms of yesterday. I was on an early shift, so I got up at 4:30 in the morning, did my 10 hours of work, got home, got dressed, raced back into London, and then didn't get home again until 4:45 this morning, so it was a very long day, sort of 24 and a bit hours of action throughout the day. But there we go. I'm still take it. I'm only 45. I'm not at death's door just yet, hopefully, although I felt like I was on the train home last night. So that was very good. Nice people, good company, bit of dancing, bit of boogieing. Like I said, various alcoholic beverages, including a peanut butter shot, which I didn't know was a peanut butter shot. And for those who know me will know that peanuts kill me, although I haven't as yet, obviously, because I'm still alive. But I'm allergic to peanuts, and I'm meant to carry an EpiPen, but I'm very lazy and don't. So when my friend told me after drinking the peanut butter shot that it was a peanut butter shot, how was it? I was like, oh, yeah, not ideal, but obviously it contains no sites of peanuts. Anything else is just flavouring. It didn't taste anything like a peanut and didn't kill me, because I'm still here, as you can see. So yeah, apart from that, all very good.
But presumably you're now like super strong like the Hulk, because what doesn't kill you is supposed to make you stronger, no?
Yeah, maybe when I'm stressed, I'll turn into a peanut now. Who knows? Anything's possible. But he just brought...
I think I misheard you there, James, but otherwise I agree with
you. I've been one of them a long time ago. So yeah, he just brought a tray around with 15 of these beverages on it, which looked like Baileys to me. And I thought, I'll neck that. And I thought, oh, peanut butter, eh? So I won't be doing that again, but there we go. But apart from that, really good night. We've also done a few things this month. We had Joshua in his performance at school. They performed Porridge, which, if you've not heard of it, it's not the Ronnie Barker prison series, because that would be very strange for a school play. It was it's like a nursery story type combination, where the Papa Bear from the Three Bears fame turns out to be a crime lord. So there's lots of suitcases of cash and lots of japes. And Joshua was Simple Simon. So it was a fairly decent role. He had like 30-odd lines, and he nailed them all and came across very well. So yeah, it's nice for him. He enjoys performing, bizarrely, because I don't, even though we're recording a podcast and I write a lot of stuff on the internet. But I don't like being in the limelight particularly. But Joshua seems to love it. So yeah, I think he wants to do drama and glee and musical theatre and everything else when he goes to secondary school. So yeah, really good fun that was. Anything else for you, G?
Yeah, we had a couple of weekends away. So Hannah's birthday tour continues. So we went down to New Forest to see one of her friends, which was excellent. Actually, they live in a gorgeous little village called Sway, and we had lots of activities planned for us. So, well, she had a busy weekend. I got to stay in the B&B for the morning and catch up on some Xbox via my ROG allies. That was good. And then we did some stuff together in the afternoon and evening. So that was really nice. And then we also went down to Devon for a kind of lights thing. Not Christmas lights, but a bit more subtle than some of the light trails that come out, which are also good. But down in Salcombe, and went down with Hannah's mum and dad and spent the weekend down there. So that was really good. Apart from that, it's been a odd month because as of recording today, I finished my current job. So I had quite an epic last few weeks trying to get stuff tidied up. So that's nearly all done, but it's done enough and not my problem anymore. So that's also good. Gave it a good effort, can walk out with my head held high saying at least I tried, which is really all that I was going for, I think. And then, yeah, my uncle's also been in hospital this month, so some family stuff as well. So I will have some time off over the next few weeks. And I had all these wonderful things planned, including playing some games. But I should get some of that in. But yeah, I'm gonna need to help out there. So a mixed month, some really lovely things, including obviously dinner with ourselves.
Most importantly, yeah,
some grown-up stuff too. So,
yeah, you always have a good career plan, don't you? You always tend to finish a job and then have a month off and then start another one, and every few years you do the same thing. So it's a good time of year to do it, having Christmas off and then having a bit of a relax before you go back in January, isn't it?
Yeah, start properly in January. So yes, I love this time of year. And I should have said, James, you're also looking very festive with a lovely Christmas hat for anyone who's not listening, and a Christmas shirt, I think, with
very festive shirt with all kinds of funky stuff on it. It does feel a bit weird though, because I've got been on wearing my Christmas hat. I've got a ball dangling in my face, which is slightly off-putting. So it's like having hair again, sort of brushing it to the side every now and again, which is quite slightly off-putting. Anyway, last bit for us is obviously I am worth it. Blimey, yes. The other big thing, obviously, is my mum has now moved into the annex, which regular listeners might remember, I've mentioned it before, that we've been doing a small building project for the last 7 months of hell. But now it's pretty much complete. So my mum moved in last week. The carpets were laid last Tuesday. Still a tiny little bit of decoration to do, but it's pretty much all done. The bed arrives tomorrow. So my mum's been using the old bed, but tomorrow she gets her brand new bed, which is exciting. And annoyingly, the wardrobe, which we had delivered, we unpacked it, carried it upstairs, and had a massive great big crack in the middle of it. So then we have since had to carry it all the way back downstairs again. I'm waiting for the company to take it away on a tent and bring us a new one, hopefully crackless, because cracks are not good in wardrobes. So there we go. So apart from that, my mum's in. We've got a new patio, we've got a new path. The roof doesn't leak. They've taken the portaloo away, which is nice, and they've taken the skip away just in time for Christmas. So if anyone comes around to our Christmas party, they won't look like we're on a building site. It looks like we're on a house that's nearly finished, surrounded by the remnants of a building site. But yeah, so that's good. So lots of excitement there.
I think anyone who's been through building work, and we only had a couple of months of it, but yeah, it's been a bit of an epic. I know we've mentioned it a lot on the podcast. Nice to move on from that for you guys, and hopefully, yeah, you'll enjoy the new setup. It sounds like it. Can't wait to see it ourselves. Have you go for it?
No, I was going, and hopefully you will. If you make it back in time for your busy social schedule. Yeah,
we're being very cultured. We're well, I'll talk about that next one. mustn't run out of material. Anything you've been watching or reading or doing other than that you wanted to cover?
I never read, Giles. I can read, in case you're concerned. I never do it. Sarah's a good reader, but I probably since school I've not read a book. Considering I did English literature for one of my A levels, which involved reading lots of books and writing about them in a critical way, I've never read a book since, bizarrely. And considering I like writing stuff, I don't read.
Now you mention it, I don't know why I mentioned anything we've been reading, but it just felt like I wanted to broaden it out. But yeah, no, I'm actually working my way through a book, but it's like one page at a time. So I'll maybe summarise that in 2027 or something.
In our 2-year anniversary episode, I've been watching some things there, Giles, which we're going to come to next. Watching is much more my style. Even though I don't watch much TV. To be fair, when Sarah's away, I don't even turn on the TV. But when she's here, we like watching our little dramas and soaps and stuff. So Married at First Sight finished. We always like it when it finishes because it drags on for like 35 episodes, and by the time you got to the end of it, you hate everyone. They're all awful people, and you don't really care how any of them got on. And then it finishes, and you're like, great, it's finished. And then you frantically Google afterwards to see if any of the couples are still together, and none of them ever are, and it's a complete waste of 3 months of our life. But there we go. We're sure we'll do the same thing next year, having said we'll never watch that awful programme again. We also finally finished watching My Mum, Your Dad, which, as I mentioned before, is a nice feel-good. Davina McCall, hopefully she's doing well after operation. Nice thing about kids putting their parents or remaining parent forward to meet someone because they've not been with anyone for a while. So they pair up a mum and a dad so far, hence the name My Mum, Your Dad. And that was a bit more nice because at the end of that one, I think 1 or 2 couples did stay together. And obviously at that age, it generally lasts a bit longer because it's quite pleasant and they can hug and talk about reading books and stuff, whatever old people do. So that was good. And we got back into Below Deck, the sailing yacht version. There's lots of different versions of Below Deck, which I've talked about before. But the sailing yacht one involves a yacht that can sail, as you could probably predict. So episode 1 was fun because the engine broke and they couldn't leave the dock. So that was very entertaining. But it's been good. It's a series we've watched for many years now, and it's the same cast on the sailing yacht one each year in part. So always good to see how that's developed from last time. But that's it for the watching stuff, apart from watching Joshua's play. We also went to another retirement do. That was another night out. It's been busy. Not enough time to watch stuff or play games, for that matter.
Well, that might help us stick closer to time today. But let's see how we go. We've not seen that much either, but we have been watching Masters of the Air, which is a show on Apple TV Plus. Although our latest free subscription, because I don't think we paid for it once, and we've had it for about 2 years on and off. Worth hunting out those free codes if you are interested. But Master of the Air is it's a companion piece to Band of Brothers in the Pacific. If you saw any of those, so produced by Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg. It's World War II. Master of the Air, as the name may suggest, is focused on an airborne division, particularly a bombing division during World War II, a US bombing division. So It's really good. I mean, it's obviously hard work, and I've just realised, having talked about a small light last time or the time before, we seem to be stuck in a kind of wartime, miserable TV watching. But it is a really good watch. It's huge production values. I don't know how much they spent on it and how few people are watching. But it's a very interesting story with some real life accounts, and then they sort of build some fiction around that. So recommend that. Although, yeah, we've got a couple of episodes left to watch and now no subscription. So no doubt I'll dig out another free one and manage to catch up.
Very annoying.
That's it really on TV side, just the usual bits and pieces. But we have been to the cinema. I've been to the cinema twice. So a intriguing double bill they would make, but I did see them separately. We went to see Paddington in Peru, Paddington 3, which wasn't as good as the first two. I think that's the thing to get out of the way. But it lost some of its charm. I think some of the charm of Paddington is seeing him in London and the sort of contrast, or the dealing with all the sort of eccentricities and manners stuff of British life. Whereas this was more of a kind of adventure set in Peru. Obviously, he was off, and the family were off to try and find Aunt Lucy. So it was more of a sort of almost conventional children's film, really, in terms of they sort of went on a mission. It was exciting, lots of action, still funny, but again, just a bit less charm, but still good. So went to see that with Hannah on a day off, which was really fun. And then I also saw Gladiator 2 on my own last week, I think, which I thought was brilliant. If anyone is doubting it, I know a lot of people have said it's kind of a rerun of the first, which is sort of true. But we saw the original Gladiator again quite recently, and I thought the second one was actually built on it in some ways. It was more layered. There's a bit more political intrigue going on than in the first, bit more complexity in the story. And yeah, still quite grisly, still quite ridiculous. Although I think the Colosseum was quite ridiculous back in the day, so probably didn't have the sharks and other creatures that are in the film, but did apparently have like sea battles and stuff. So when you watch it and think they couldn't have possibly done that, they did to some extent. But yeah, really, really good film, and highly recommend it if anyone hasn't had a chance to see it. I think every screening of every cinema is now showing Wicked, so if you want to see anything apart from Wicked, you might be out of luck. But if there is a screen showing Gladiator, I'd recommend that one.
Lovely. The old Roman gladiator days reminds me. I keep getting videos pop up on Facebook of slap battles. I don't know if you've seen slap battles.
Very similar to the
it does kind of remind me. Yeah, ridiculous brutality with people watching and cheering on people slapping each other in the face until someone's lip explodes, their eye falls out. Ludicrous. The only thing missing is there's no bears that come on and start mauling people like in the Roman times. That would have make it a lot more interesting. But there we go.
Yet. Wait for the next season when they're chasing ratings. Well, that could be a decent segue into last month's Game of the Month, because if you want sort of hyper violence and dramatic action, I think Call of Duty Black Ops is probably the one. Certainly felt that way for me. Did we miss something?
I thought I'd miss the bears being in there. What? Was there bears in there that I haven't got to?
Have you not got to the bears yet?
No, all the slap battle, neither.
It's DLC. You're going to have to pay for that. But yeah, we both played Call of Duty Black Ops. It was included in Game Pass this year for the first time. Obviously, massive franchise. I was staggered. Even I knew it had been going for a while, but I was staggered to read that this is the 21st installment of Call of Duty. So Black Ops 6, which actually is a sequel to Black Ops 2 and Black Ops Cold War, which is one of the 7 Black Ops, just the one without a number. I'm sure you're all keeping up right now. But all that aside, single-player story follows a rogue CIA operatives as they assemble a team of agents, really just an excuse for lots of exploding nonsense, and multiplayer and zombies modes to talk about too. James, what did you think of this one?
Yeah, I loved it. Great game, in short. If you want a 2-word summary, loved it. All good. But in more detail, really loved it. It's 3 words.
Okay.
So
Next.
I really enjoy campaigns generally. I'm not always one for multiplayers or open world stuff. I like focused campaigns where you're doing stuff and you can achieve stuff. I've talked about before in one of our early podcasts. I like the feeling of achievements to keep me going and keep the adrenaline flowing and the serotonin up and all the other fun stuff you get from gaming. And this one's got a great campaign. It's a decent length. It's probably between 8 to 10 hours, roughly, if you play it decently and aren't amazingly good or amazingly bad. Yeah, not sure which end I fall at, but there we go. And each of the missions, there's probably about 8 missions in there, I think, are all very different. So very, very interesting. So there's some which are fairly straightforward. Call of Duty, go around, shoot some people and go to the next bit. But there's others where you drive around in tanks and helicopters and you get fun bits coming in. There's a whole weird section whereby you're in some kind of building. Won't give too much away. And you've been to this building before in the past, apparently. And you have sort of hallucinogenic type moments in there. And it's really, really weird. Really funky. Not the kind of thing you'd expect to see in a Black Ops game, I found. So as I got to it, I was like, this is really weird. And there's lots of zombies in it, and there's lots of like sneaky mannequins that creep up on you. So like as you are walking along and you stop and you find the mannequins are creeped up behind you. So it's only if you're watching the mannequins they stop moving. As soon as you look in the other direction, they creep up behind. It's really interesting. So I really enjoyed that part. That was really good. And there's a later part in the game. Again, I won't tell you who the character is, but there's some interrogation type mission, and that's really weird as well. There's sort of you kind of drug them to get some information out of them, and it sort of splits their psyche in two, and they're sort of battling between the good parts of them and the bad parts of them, and you go through lots of memories from their past to see how they turn into what they turned into. Fascinating game. So I'm really loving it. Yeah, good action, good variety, good length, not ridiculously difficult, but again, not too easy. Probably could do it being a tiny bit easier. I'm on medium difficulty, so I could have gone up a notch and still enjoyed it. But yeah, great game. Charles?
Yeah, echo pretty much all of that. Did you say you finished it, James? Or you're...
No, I'm literally at the end of that interrogation part.
I was going to say, yeah, if you played that, that's sort of right towards the end. So
Yeah.
you are right there, and that level is sort of juxtaposed with a sort of siege level, isn't there? Again, I won't talk about the location, but that sort of mixture between a very, very classic Call of Duty sort of setup with just ridiculous number of enemies coming at you and all kinds of other craziness going on, and then that quite personal story of exploring the backstory of that person's psyche and the sort of slightly surreal idea of sort of jumping through their memories. It was really interesting, like you said, more interesting ideas than I think I was expecting in the game. You mentioned those mannequins. For any Doctor Who fans out there, this is essentially the Weeping Angels. It's almost exactly the same setup, that they only move when you're not looking. And I did think that, like, a lot of the levels, there's a load of invention. Completely agree, it was really good fun. But a lot of them reminded me of something else. So particularly, there are lots of very strong, I think, film influences. In that zombie level, there's a sort of ringing phone which just feels like something straight out of Control. Other games, there's a grapple hook type moment which feels like Halo Infinite or any of the other classics that have sort of implemented that. It really feels like the team developing it, I think it was Treyarch, kind of picked the best of all kinds of different things and managed to make it a coherent whole. So yeah, really enjoyed it as well. Have you, credit to Total Film, have you heard the expression mayhem?
No, not really, no.
Okay, so there's a director called Michael Bay, film director, you probably know of, who directed Transformers and Bad Boys and all those sort of really like kind of brainless but fun action movies. And usually it sort of involves preposterousness, huge amounts of action, explosions in slow motion. That to me, this is a Michael Bay movie made into a game, basically. And yeah, I loved it too. We did allude to the fact that we also played a little bit of zombies together, didn't we?
Yeah.
What did you think of the zombies, mate?
Yeah, different. I wasn't sure what to expect from the zombies mode. I assumed there'd be some killing zombies, which obviously there was. I think Scotty commented after our last episode that I mentioned filling your boots with the zombies, and there is a lot of zombies. They're everywhere, buggers. But it is quite level based as well, isn't it? So you kill a certain number of zombies, and you move on to the next little segment or little section. There's two different maps. There's one quite claustrophobic one in a little place, and there's one bigger one where you can explore a bit more. But I enjoyed it. I wasn't wonderfully good at it. I'm quite good at the actual game, but not wonderfully good at the zombies part because they're moving. Whereas in the actual game, baddies tend to pop their head up and then hide down and pop their head up in exactly the same place. You know where to shoot them in the head when they pop up. But the zombies was good. We had a good chat, didn't we? Had a good laugh playing it. We were fortunately teamed up with two people generally that were much better than at least one of us, if not both of us. And they did sort of carry our asses for most of it and were quite good. But you can rank up as well. So we started off on level 1, didn't we? And you can gradually go up the ranks in the army type ranking structure until you get better. So yeah, good fun. Enjoyed it. Would happily do that again. And it's nice to actually play a game together for the first time since we've done the podcast.
I was going to say, yeah, I think it's just a really different experience, isn't it? Playing something like that together. Really enjoyed it as well. And like you said, shout out to I've meant to write down their names, but I completely forgotten. But the two random punters who we were imagining quite loudly over voice chat. We were imagining they were probably just shaking their head constantly at having to revive the two of us. But to their credit, they did mostly revive us. They didn't just let us be sort of mauled to death by these zombie hordes. So thank you to something 69 or whatever your name was. No doubt we made your afternoon a lot worse, but you made ours a lot better. So thank you very much.
I'm sure they're thinking about the experience every day.
Yeah, probably. We're on a block list somewhere. Just don't play with these guys. They're your dad, basically.
I was going to say also, I enjoyed the puzzle type part as well because I don't know if you did. I don't know if you explored it, but when you're in a safe house, effectively, where you're basing your ops out of, and there's like a planning board and a training area, and you can buy equipment, all that kind of jazz. But you can also wander around the gaff with a flashlight and look for clues to the history of the safe house back in the sort of Soviet era. And you can sort of finally find a mystery door and go down into a mystery area where there's lots of puzzles to solve and lots of fun things and lots of voices and numbers hidden on walls and stuff, which you annoyingly only lets you unlock a safe and get $1,000 out of it. It's not that exciting. But you did get the achievement at the bottom. But yeah, It felt like it was going to be more interesting than that.
Exactly. That pop of that achievement was this little reward for lots of hunting around. But yeah, I enjoyed that too. And thanks for going back to it. I missed it on the notes, but that was indeed one of the again another thing you didn't expect in the game, and a real change of pace when you weren't hurtling at someone's face with a shotgun. Enjoy finishing the single player, James. And I think neither of us have dabbled in multiplayer yet. Would you chance your arm, or rather expect to get a kicking at multiplayer at any point, or would you stay away?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not generally a fan of people, so multiplayer is not something I generally dive into. Apart from with Fortnite with Joshua, we do a lot of multiplayer there, and that's probably very similar, but a bit less cartoony. So yeah, I might give it a go one day, but it's not ever my first priority. I hate sandbox modes generally, and I hate multiplayer generally. I love campaigns and being on my own in a dark basement with no one else around.
Me too. If anyone's listening and is a big fan of the multiplayer, tell us why we're wrong. We love to hear that sort of thing. But moving on to another single-player game then. James, you rather confidently chose 2 games of the month, which we had some difficulty saying last month. So we had another game of the month to get through, and that was the Chaos Engine. Do you want to describe that one, or I can take you?
Yes. So you didn't describe the first one, bizarrely, Charles. You had a whole script laid out about Call of Duty Black Ops 6. You never mentioned any of it, I don't think. Did you? Did you?
Yeah, you just weren't listening. It's fine.
Maybe I nodded off. Now it's coming back to me now, like a fever dream. Yes, you did mention it. Ignore me. I'll talk about Chaos Engine. Just skip that part. Good. Chaos Engine is a game where you shoot some things in one of 8 directions, and you get to choose between 4 different operatives who have a slightly different style and slightly different powers and slightly different strength of guns and speed and all that jazz. So you pick your characters at the start, and then you go into a level, and then you shoot some things. and the things change in each level, and even during the level sometimes. And they're strange monsters. It's quite like a 1990s type game, whereby it's not obviously graphically amazing. The sound is always quite funky. There's not much of an intro. There's not much of a massive story behind it. But roughly speaking, there's a chaos engine that's just sort of taken over the world and made things happen. And you're trying to defeat the engine by going through the small number of levels, killing the strange things. And there's things like frogs and stuff that come out, and frogs can bounce at you, whereas the other kind of monsters just walk towards you. So frogs are a bit of a pain in the bum, I found.
Those leaping frogs. Yeah, I was going to say I'm not a frog fan after that game.
No, massive ball ache, the frogs. And again, it's very, very linear. You go up a screen and you kill some things, and then you walk back down, and then you walk back up the screen again and unlock a special weapon or a power or something, and then you walk over something that creates a little doorway or a little hole in some trees, and then some zombies come up out of more holes in trees, and you walk around the map until it's finished and you get out the exit, and then you're on to the next level. But the annoying part is, which doesn't really happen in modern games, is that once you die a few times, then you're dead, like in real life. There's no coming back. So when you restart the game, you're back to the first start of the first level. So I think it's really hard, like most games from the 80s/90s, to finish a game, because unless you're really, really, really good or have an incredible amount of patience or love playing exactly the same thing over and over again for an hours on end trying to get better at it, then you're never going to see the end. So you see half the game and that's it, really. So that was a bit disappointing, I think. These days it'd be nice if they could have an updated version with a save point, heaven forbid. Well, interestingly though, what's the game? The one where you make a software company, Game Dev Tycoon. In that one, save points only come some way into the game, so potentially save points are a fairly modern feature that didn't exist at the time. Who knows? I'm being kind to the developers. But yeah, it's a good game. It's fun. I got further each time in the many, many times I played it, but I didn't enjoy it enough to spend all my days annoyingly bashing my controller at it to get to the end.
Same. Did you get out of the forest, the first setting? I think that's at least the first floor. Well, I didn't. So that was why I asked. When you said you have to be good, very patient, or something else, I was like, yep, nope. So I just played the same opening bits over and over again, and felt very much like, at least some of the times I died, that it was really not my fault, and it was just the game being unfair. Like trying to go up some stairs and shoot someone, you could not shoot up the stairs, even though the bullet looks like it goes up the stairs, and they can happily just walk down the stairs and kill you. So I didn't get very far at all, despite actually playing it a fair bit. But I definitely recognise how you describe it. I was going to say, I think that the strengths for me, number one, in a couple of pages of text, they managed to get across that story, as kind of ridiculous as it is, about the Chaos Engine and creating all these kind of mutants or whatever it's doing, and changing the world around you. So that was pretty good, not least because it had an absolutely banging soundtrack, which I'm not sure I can get away with saying, but I'm going to anyway. It was a sort of, I guess is it chiptune or whatever it is, that sort of very, very old style, created by a synthesizer type music. But oh my God, I love that song. I could listen to that over and over, which is good because I did, as well as the death screen. And the best thing about it for me, and just about those games in general, again, sort of enjoying a few of them through Antstream, was that I actually started playing it first because I was waiting for a 40 gig update to download the Call of Duty. And I thought, well, screw it, I'm just going to start that. And it starts straight away, no update, very straightforward. Like you said, no nonsense, such as useful things like save states or anything like that. Although there's a sort of password save system, which I couldn't even work out how to do. But yeah, no updates, very straightforward, fewer buttons, locked camera, so probably a bit more accessible in terms of people being able to pick up and play it. But also, being able to fire in one of 8 directions when someone's just off that straight up or vertically up angle and you can't shoot at them, that's quite annoying. And like you said, permadeath. At least that, as you said, is more realistic. So that was the only thing I would add to that. And I enjoyed when you said, just like in real life, you just go back to the start and have to play all over again. Uh, if that's the
Hopefully.
case, and I have my memories, then I'm going to do it so much better. So that's quite reassuring. I like
It'd be awesome, wouldn't it, come back? Who knows?
it. Would.
We'll find out one day, or we won't. One of the two.
Indeed.
So an interesting game. We picked two games, or I picked two games to. It's like a compare and contrast between a modern shooty type game and an old type shooty type game. And my hypothesis was that the old game was going to be a lot more difficult than the new game. And bizarrely, the old game was a lot more difficult than the new game because Giles has finished a new game and I've nearly finished it, and we've got absolutely nowhere at all with the old game, not even past the first section in Giles' case. So again, a lot more easy to get into. There's no controls to learn, really. You just walk in 8 directions and shoot some things. There's no big plot twist. There's no storyline. There's no special abilities. There's no helicopters to ride or tanks to shoot people or no brain-altering drugs to induce into people. It's just fine. You just walk around, shoot some things and carry on. Good to spend 5 minutes at. Probably not the kind of game you'd get into for like hours on end, but good to spend 10 minutes here and there so you can do better than last time. And yeah, fun, but in a very different way. And it reminisced me. It reminded me of my past. And on Antstream, you can choose between the Amiga version or the something else version, Mega Drive version.
Oh, I didn't even spot that.
Yeah, 2 options. Same game, same story, but different graphics, and it feels different, weirdly.
Oh, cool.
So so try the other one. You might do better at it.
I'm not sure that's going to save me, but I'll give it a go and I'll report back. Excellent. Have you been playing anything more modern recently as well?
Yes. Continue to play Fortnite. We talked about last time that we were just on the eve of a big live event, ready to launch a remix season, which included Snoop Dogg and Eminem and Ice Spice, who I'd never heard of before, and Juice WRLD, who I've never heard of before, but he's already dead. So I probably won't be hearing much from him for a while. But it's very good. The initial live show that opened it was Ice Spice and Snoop Dogg performing in Times Square in a big podium with lots of people watching. That was really good fun. Me and Sarah loved that one. It's on for about 20 minutes, proper live show, and he performed well for Snoop, as he always does. So that's good. Bit of nostalgia, bit of, again, reminiscence. Obviously, Joshua had never heard of him before, so it was a bit of a different experience for him. But now he's keen because he's seen him in a game in graphical form. And then the season was quite fun because there was different types of weapons and there was special locations where Snoop hung out. So the main centre location was Snoop's Dog Pound, and you go in there and you can kill Snoop, and then he joins your team and has his own special gun, and Eminem's got his own mum's spaghetti diner, so you could go there and kill him and he joins your team. So good fun. Fortnite's always good fun. And then that remix season ended a handful of days ago, depending on when you listen to this one, last day of November, and that was sort of a animated few songs from each of the people, and it was sort of a tribute to Juice WRLD, who, like I said, I'd never heard of before and probably wouldn't do again, but he's dead. So very interesting. Joshua found that really exciting. The end one, I found the live one much more interesting because I knew the people and they were really there. So that was that, and now it's moved on to some kind of Japanese-themed stuff with like warriors and ninjas and Japanese buildings and sprites and shrines and lots of swords and fun weapons. So that's going really well so far. And also on the 6th, which is probably the day this podcast comes out, there'll be the OG map returns. So the Chapter 1, Season 1 map returns permanently, I think. So that's always going to be an option then to return to how it was when Fortnite originally turned into a Battle Royale format. So Josh is looking forward to that one because obviously he never played it back then because he was little, and I'd never played it back then because I was not a massive loser. So now we're going to have a go at playing that together tomorrow to see what it was like back in the day. So good fun there.
Nice.
You've been playing, G?
Yeah, well, I'll get to it, but I looked up when Fortnite was released because we said it was a modern game, and it was released in 2017 apparently. So it's 10 years old. Well, give or take a few years. So crazy that it's still going, still evolving, and be interesting to go back to the early days once it pivoted.
Yeah, and obviously it's a completely different theory as well because obviously you don't pay for the game; it's always free, but you pay for battle passes and pay to get skins and stuff. Sort of there's enough people that pay for stuff to keep it going. There must be a massive investment every few weeks, completely changing the entire map and every character and all the weapons and everything. So there must be a constant battle for new content and new licenses to make stuff interesting. So fascinating that it's different from every other game in that respect.
Whole different world. Yeah, mine. I was much more traditional game. Dead Space. We talked about it last month. I finished that off, the remake. Ended up really enjoying it. I think we talked about the challenge and getting frustrated originally. I loved it in the end. It did take ages. Took ages to finish the last fight. Had stayed on sort of medium. Um, I guess out of stubbornness and a kind of sunk cost fallacy. By the time I got that far, I was like, that achievement for completing on medium difficulty with one battle to go felt like, oh, I really should. And I did, which was good.
Nice.
Interesting to think, though, would I have rated it? I think it's going to be in my running for Game of the Year.
Oh, wow.
Really, really enjoyed it. But would I have enjoyed it marginally more or marginally less at a lower difficulty? And I genuinely can't decide if I would have added a point or taken a point away. Because by the time I did finally defeat that final bleep, it was very satisfying. I may have even had a little fist pump into the air at the time, and then looked around to make sure no one could see me and made sure I didn't mention it on a podcast. Oh crap. But really enjoyed that, and yeah, finished that one off, which was nice because as we've discussed, I think at the start of the year, I do, once I've started a story-based game, I do struggle to sort of walk away from it without knowing how it finishes. And Dead Space was worth that effort in the end. That was another of mine. Have you got any more, James, before I grab it on?
Yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn. That's the correct one,
Nice.
isn't it? Yeah.
Mm.
The remastered version that came out on PS5. We talked about last month, coming out on PS5 and PC. And I've never played a PS4 version, so I was fresh to it, which is a nice way to do it. And graphically, it's obviously stunning, as you would expect for a remastered PS5 game. The scenery is great, the locations are great, the characters superbly animated, obviously, and all the monsters that machines that you fight and destroy throughout the game are great fun as well. So I'm only like 4 hours into that one, but I'm really enjoying it so far. It's something that I've wanted to play for a long time, never quite got around to. But when a remaster came out, it was only £10 to upgrade from the PS4 version. So I got the PS4 version for cheap on eBay a while ago, but never got around to playing it. So I just upgraded it for tenner and gave it a go. And yeah, probably one of my more favourite games now. Like I said, it's good story, great graphics, good controls, nice bit of variation. Half open world, but still with a very strong mission theme from the middle. So you can do other bits on the way around, collect some things, do some side quests and stuff, but a nice strong theme in the middle. And it starts off really interestingly. It's a little girl, a baby that gets given to someone and they're kind of outcasts, and she is certainly an outcast at the start, and then she falls down a hole and finds some old equipment and technology, puts a funky little Bluetooth earpiece in her ear and can start seeing monsters and stuff. So great fun. Obviously I'm very short into it, so I don't know how it's going to progress, but I'm interested to find out. I'm certainly interested enough to continue playing the game, so awesome. And I know you've completed already, haven't you, a while ago?
Yeah,
The original?
yeah. I played the PS4 version. Possibly, I might have even played it on PS5 backwards compatible. But yeah, played it a few years ago. I enjoyed it. My hesitation with it was it felt some of the missions felt very prescriptive. They have a very visible like waypoint mechanism where it sort of shows you where to go. And
Yeah,
I felt like a lot of the sort of investigate this, I was just literally like following an arrow and kind of
true.
pressing a button when it told me to press a button and stuff like that. But yeah, it's an intriguing story. I really enjoyed the story and the sort of essentially hunting kind of gameplay, isn't it? You're sort of trying to take down
Yeah.
these mechanical versions of sort of quasi kind of dinosaurs or animals. Was really, really satisfying, very heavily bow based and sort of explosive versions of that bow. And that was really satisfying, kind of sneaking around, finding weak points. The battles were just the right level for me of challenging, but very satisfying when you kind of took one down, but especially some of the bigger enemies that you'll come across or have come across already. And there's a real sense of scale. It's interesting that they chose to make a VR game out of that world because obviously you've got some sort of ginormous creatures there, and it's a really intriguing premise. Played a bit of the sequel. It got taken off PlayStation Plus before I could finish it. And I enjoyed that too, but yeah, I feel like it could have been a one and done. So see what you think by the time you get to the end of it. It's quite a time investment as well, so
Yeah.
that might be you for a while. Um, and me for a while, and the rest of my time this month has probably been um, all in my MetaQuest 3 headset. So
Mm.
having said, and we've said on the podcast many times, that I wouldn't crack and buy a VR headset, I surprised literally nobody, and did get one in the end. And went for MetaQuest for a couple of reasons. James, you've got the PSVR 2, haven't you?
Don't you have, Giles?
Yes, and I think we both had the original PlayStation VR. So my view of the first PlayStation was that it was clearly like really interesting tech, but the tech wasn't up to it. The resolution was really poor. The controls were terrible. Repurposed Move controllers from the PS3 or 2 days.
Yeah.
Terrible, terrible, terrible. Yeah, I can't talk enough about how awful they were. And obviously, because it was all heavily wired, there were like 6 wires coming out of your headset. It was a bit of a sort of snake's nest of cables all around you. Didn't like it. And when PSVR 2 came out, it felt like the answer to a lot of those issues, maybe wires notwithstanding. But I felt like I couldn't quite see the use case for me. And so when the MetaQuest headset, the MetaQuest 3, came out, I still didn't feel it quite had the tick the boxes. But some of the things that have happened to it recently have changed my mind, including that you can now plug in any HDMI input with some adapters and jiggery pokery. So you could have your Xbox or PlayStation, for example, and use it as a display. You could use a Blu-ray player or a DVD player and use it as a home cinema. And I actually had an very old, really early tech from Sony, not PlayStation, but the general brand. I had a sort of personal headset thing that I watched films on about 7 years ago or something for a while, which was really cool. So that was appealing, and also that the MetaQuest headset has cameras on the outside, and therefore there's augmented reality as well as virtual reality. So that's where you can see your surroundings, and they overlay some virtual elements on top of it. So I've been playing around with that basically, and experimenting mostly with demos. There's currently Batman Arkham Shadow is included in any purchase, which was the other reason for going for it, because I really wanted to play another Arkham game. Love this trilogy. So that is on the list, but I own it, so I don't have to rush to it. Whereas you get a 3-month subscription to their little subscription service when you buy it as well. So I'm playing my way through some things that I've got free access to for a couple of months, and just having a blast. I'll talk in a bit more detail maybe another time, because we've got a lot to cover today. But I feel like, especially because it's untethered, there's nothing else to plug into, there's no wires. The downside of that is definitely battery life. That's limited. But it genuinely to me feels like you are in another world. And whether that's conducting an orchestra as a maestro, or Beat Saber, or being a spy and I expect you to die, or all kinds of things that I've tried out over the last few weeks. It's genuinely transformative. I'm loving it anyway. It's really fun, and I'm looking forward to trying to share it with friends and family, say over Christmas. So I will no doubt be raving about that in the future.
I'm genuinely excited about it, Giles, which is quite cool.
Yeah, it's been really good. I'm really glad at the moment Hannah hasn't sort of walked in on me while I've been using it, because obviously you can't see around you, and no doubt I look like a complete tit. But I was describing to her conducting an orchestra, and I gave her some of the actions that I was doing, and she just seemingly she had the time of her life. So I think if anyone could watch me with that headset on, I would be a lot more embarrassed. But it's great fun in the privacy of your own home.
Yeah, well, I'm aiming to get the adapter for Christmas, hopefully, so I can use my PSVR 2 on the PC, as discussed before. I've got the right graphics card for it and everything else, so yeah, hopefully I can give that a go sometime after Christmas and see how that fares. Obviously, thousands more virtual reality games than they've got on the PSVR 2 anyway, so that'd be good. So we should have a compare and contrast in the new year.
Yeah, sounds fun. Let's do it. Right, we actually don't think we decided on a game of the month for December, despite the note saying November. But I
Yeah,
gave a couple of ideas. Did anything jump out at you that we should go for?
yeah. I kind of decided because I wrote it down on my piece of paper, but then
Okay.
forgot that we hadn't actually agreed on it. But yeah, I was saying that to be Indiana Jones in a Great Circle because we were looking forward to that for ages, didn't we? We previewed it a couple of times in various podcasts in the past. It looks awesome in all the previews, so we'll definitely give that one a good go, I think. And hopefully you've got some kind of synopsis written down, or if not, I can blag one and make one up, whichever way
Oh,
you prefer.
I have no synopsis written down, but I do have
Ah,
a few things in my head which are worth sharing, I think. I'll not share everything in my head. No one wants to hear that.
no.
But the one thing I was going to flag is that by the time this episode goes live, I think reviews will be live because they are the embargo breaks at 4 p.m. Pacific time today, the 5th, which I believe is midnight UK time. So it will be up and we'll know how good it is by that point. The previews, however, have been spectacular, I think, for this game.
Yeah.
Really talking about how it is essentially the film that you kind of wish they made after The Last Crusade rather than the other two, which we don't tend to talk about. And I think it's set, isn't it, between Raiders of the Lost Ark, i.e. the second in the timeline, and Last Crusade. So it's a young indie with Harrison Ford's likeness and a really good sound-alike impression from Troy Baker.
Yeah.
But do you have any story description, James, or
Not
we
massively. You're kind of trying
hint?
to thwart, because thwart's always a good word,
Yeah.
a group that are trying to exploit slash harness the power of the Great Circle, which, if you look on a map, it's like a collection of mysterious archaeological sites around the world that, when you draw around them, it looks like a great circle. I kept calling it Giant Circle when we first talked about it months ago, but it's Great Circle. And I kept reflecting on what an awful name it was at the time. I still think it's an awful name. It's very
Well,
underwhelming, but
it's,
there we
yeah.
go. Grey and Giant, both awful in terms of a circle. So yeah, you go around different locations, including Rome and Egypt and Thailand and lots of different places where they have these mysterious sites, and you're doing your best to fight the baddies at each of those places to stop them connecting the giant circular dots to take over the world and stuff. And like I said, it's an original storyline, which is always fun. It's always nice when they take an old thing and instead of making a new movie, they make a new game out of it. Because obviously, gaming is just as popular as movies, and sometimes you get a lot better games and you do movies, and sometimes movies are based on games, sometimes games are based on movies. But this one is kind of a bit of both. So they are unlikely to make a movie based on this particular version of this game, but it's nice to see them taking a theme, having Harrison Ford looking exactly like he did in the olden days, which is nice, I think, because that's when the halcyon days of Indiana Jones. Obviously, the last one he looked really old, as you'd expect, because he was really old. So it kind of put a different vibe to it, but this is nice. It feels like a nice dip of nostalgia back from the old days, and it feels like you said, an extra film from back then rather than something they've hashed up now. So looking forward to it very much so. And it comes out December the 9th, isn't it? So very soon.
Yeah, and it feels like it's an interesting time to release a game. You don't get many games coming out this close to Christmas, and after some of the game awards have been made, but it does feel like a sort of perfect game to go into the Christmas season. The sort of film that you might sort of gather around on Christmas Day or Boxing Day with the family. And certainly, if it's as good as the previews suggest, and let's hope it is, then I can see myself playing this one in those stolen moments between being sociable every now and
And,
again.
and it's another Xbox Day 1 release, isn't it? It's
It
quite
is,
impressive
yeah.
again.
We're gonna need to repopulate our PlayStation entries for our games of the month, but they have been coming thick and fast, and yeah, I think it's one we've wanted to play, both wanted to
Yeah,
play, so makes it an easy decision. Thank you, James. Good
got to
choice.
be done. Got to be done.
Right. It's been a quietish month for news, so I won't belabor the point, but Death Stranding coming to Xbox was fairly big news. It was on sale. I think it's probably gone back up to full price, but it was on sale at half price initially for about 16 or 17 quid. And it's one of the games that I actually dropped some money on. So I did buy. to add to the backlog, which is probably a ridiculous thing to do. I played it a bit when it was on PC Game Pass in the past. So I'm optimistic and hopeful, although not 100% confident that my save will work on this version, which is cross-play between Xbox and PC. And obviously it's been very well regarded on PlayStation. Any interest in Death Stranding, James, or have you enjoyed Hideo Kojima's games at all?
I've always been interested in it, but never actually got anywhere close to playing it. So I have it, like I have everything else. I even got a physical copy for the PlayStation 4, so it's in my desk somewhere, but I've never actually whipped it out. I've stuck it in, as it were. So maybe one day, but unlikely. But it looks awesome. Everyone said it's awesome. It's very stylized and very special in its presentation style. So yeah, I would play it, but nowhere near yet. Next year. It's definitely not going to be this year. It's going to be next year now.
New Year's resolutions, as we always stick to those ones. Excellent. Yeah, it felt like to me. I mean, it's not a PlayStation game anymore. Hideo Kojima bought the rights to it back after 5 years, so that's why it's come to Xbox. But it does also feel like there's definitely sort of movement towards games coming out on most things eventually over time, whether it's a couple of months in Indiana Jones' case, it's due on PlayStation in the spring apparently, or 5 years in the case of Death Stranding. Things are tending to go cross-platform, and we've seen Sega and Square Enix both talking about that this month. I don't think, apart from the sort of ranting fanboys, I don't think anyone's too sad to see great games on whatever console you own. Are you up in arms, apoplectic, or any other such descriptions, James, of this betrayal?
I'm not convinced I've ever been apoplectic about anything at all.
I can't imagine.
Definitely not up in arms, blimey. It's too much effort lifting my arms up, let alone being up and then. So I think it's similar to films, really, isn't it? You can pay a bit more money and go for the experience and see it in a cinema if you are desperate to see it for the first few minutes these days before it gets put on streaming services. So it's a similar concept. Everyone's got used to it over the years, so it makes perfect sense to me. There's still some games, aren't there, like The Last of Us and Uncharted and all the Naughty Dog stuff, which I can't imagine ever going to Xbox, bizarrely, because there's been no talk of it, and even when they made the series out of it, I thought they might have spread a bit further, but it still seems to have got stuck on PlayStation, so I guess there'll be a bit of both in the future, but yeah, probably more multi-platform stuff. Makes perfect sense. Bit of exclusivity for a few months and then swap it over.
Yeah, I think Sony are moving towards ever quicker releases on PC. So those games you described, took maybe a year or 2 years to get to PC in the past. So I think they're coming quicker and quicker and will be day one day. Right. Well, as we mentioned, this episode, we're not just celebrating Christmas. We are celebrating a year of the Aches and Games pod. So happy birthday to us, James. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
It feels like a momentous occasion. We said we would do this for a year and then reflect and see how it was going. Hopefully we'll carry on. Stay tuned for that decision. But we thought we would take the opportunity to kind of look back at the episodes. Won't go one by one, but we will go through some of the themes, some of the high points, maybe some of the less high points throughout the 12 months. Hopefully there aren't that many. And we'll also talk about the future of the podcast. So first of all, you may recall, and if you were listening back then, thank you. Hope you enjoyed it. But we started off by introducing ourselves back last December and taking our listeners through our gaming journey. Any thoughts on that particular episode, James?
Yeah, it does ring a bell, so that's a bonus. It was only a year ago, so my short-term memory's not that bad quite yet. But yeah, we both had similar gaming journeys, didn't we? Out of interest, both sort of mid-80s. I'm sure everyone will remember from listening back to the episode, but if you can't remember, please do listen back to the episode and let us know what you thought of it. Really good, really good. One of the best ever. And yeah, I started off with a Spectrum on my 8th birthday, I think it was. So I got that for Christmas, and a 14-inch portable TV for my nan and granddad, so I could play my Spectrum on. And I posted on social media recently, actually, a comparison picture of Joshua set up now with his 77-inch TV on the wall, a reclining sofa, and very modern technology, with mine sitting in my mum's dining room chair on a tiny desk with a 14-inch TV and a cabinet full of booze next to me. And I got lots of fun feedback in the Over 40s gaming group. So it's fascinating how much it's all changed since we started gaming. And back then, like we just talked about with the Chaos Engine games, are very different now, very short, very hard, and you never really ever finished any. And I've still never finished any of the olden games that I played, even when I've gone back to them now. Got nowhere near them at all. So yeah, we've been doing this for 40 odd years. Almost feels like we've been doing a podcast for 40 odd years some days, but we haven't. It's just been a year. But yeah, back then the only downside was we had awful audio, didn't we, for the first few episodes, and certainly for that fourth one, it felt like we were talking to each other using a piece of string and some cups. But people seemed to like the content and like the relaxed nature of the way we were talking to each other and stuff. And I think someone said it felt like a warm hug on a winter's day. That might have been me.
Might have been us,
yeah. But since then, we've developed and the technology's got better. But it was nice to get it going, wasn't it? It was just a nice little initial idea that you came up with, and we thought we'd give it a little crack as a chance to have a regular catch-up and talk about some geeky crap. So here we are, still talking about that geeky crap.
Very good summary. My main memory is about the sound quality, unfortunately, which was really poor. The content and that episode was probably one of my favourite memories of these 12 months, which is hopefully not saying too much about the other episodes, but I think it's always good to look back, and we've tried since then to also cover some older games here and there, to sort of bring in some stories from our sort of gaming past, and we'll continue to do that. So yeah, I think we started fairly strong, audio aside, and who knows, maybe one day that episode will get its own remaster or remake, and people will see a tidied up version and can listen to that one. So then in January, did our what may well become an annual Game of the Year awards, which so we were looking back, I think, at games that we'd played during 2023 rather than things that had come out necessarily, because we, as we talk about, we tend to play things a bit after the event in the sales and on the subscriptions. So yeah, again, January's episode, we also talked about gaming resolutions. I don't know if you remember yours, James, for this year. Maybe we can look back next month and see how we did.
Weirdly, I remember your one, but I've absolutely no idea about my one. It's funny to have less games in my backlog, and that's failed ridiculously because I've got like 5 times the amount of rubbish in my backlog, which I've still not touched. So I fail every resolution. It's almost a sort of an annual joke. That's the whole point of resolutions, isn't it? To set yourself a task that's completely unachievable and you feel bad at the end of it and start all over again.
Exactly, and we are nailing it. But it was a fun episode again. The future episodes, then we went into some themes, or rather I will go into some themes, where a number of episodes that we covered similar ideas. So the February episode was our first time we tried to cover one of those live streams announcing new games. And we've done this a few times since. So this was the Developer Direct that was the Xbox event in January. And we talked that through in February, but we've also had the Xbox Showcase and the Summer Games Fest in the summer. We've had some streams from PlayStation, I think even from Nintendo. And what's your memories of any of those episodes, James, or any thoughts on that? I think it was something you hadn't watched or seen or done before.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That was my main thought, and that it sounded so ridiculously geeky that you'd watch a preview program to see what games are coming up that you'd never have time to play, that I had no interest at all. But yeah, you made me do it, and it was quite enjoyable. And now I watch them routinely because they're quite good fun. And it's the only bit I don't enjoy about the PlayStation one is the stupid way they say PlayStation at the end of each one in a sort of a robotic, stupid voice, and that annoys me every time. So apart from that, the PlayStation ones are quite fine. Apart from the people popping up and saying noble, worthy things in every few minutes for no good reason, and a stupid voice at the end. Apart from that, very enjoyable, and I like being at the cutting edge of future gaming technology and news now. So I've completely changed.
There we go. Well, and hopefully, listeners, you feel slightly more informed about what's coming up, even if, as we said, we tend to be playing stuff from between 2 and 10 years ago, depending on what's cheap or offered in the subscriptions. But James, you highlighted, especially in Game Pass, for example, some new stuff landing day one has made us occasionally nearly current, as I think we talked about last month.
Surprisingly common, in fact. We've gone for Black Ops, we've gone for Indiana Jones, we had Animal Well, which was day one, and Harold Halibut was day one. So every one of our recent games of the month have all been day one releases.
There you go. Age of Mythology as well. That was day one. And we'll gloss over Jeanne d'Arc then, which was from 15 years ago or something, but was still really fun and really interesting, and the sort of game that I wouldn't have played if it wasn't for the podcast. So again, part of this show, we want to try and kind of delve into the back catalogue as well. So we'll do a bit of both.
Yeah.
Excellent. Two more themes. We've had some sort of themed episodes, so we occasionally try and pick a topic. We talked about remasters. We talked about gaming length, gaming difficulty, what counts as a game, the gaming subscription services. And so these topics, James, we've had a chance to maybe step away from the kind of month-to-month activity and look a bit longer term.
Now you've summarised them, yes.
True.
Looking back now, it does sound like we had some great discussions about some great things. So I'd recommend people go back and listen to our exciting views on all those things. And in part, those are some sort of evergreen topics, aren't they? We've got some things we discuss each month where we just have a chat about what we've been up to that month, which if you listen back in 6 months' time is a bit pointless because we've all been doing it. But some of the bits are quite evergreen, so you could listen in 6 years' time and listen to our review of Black Ops 6, and it'll be equally relevant because Black Ops 6 will still probably be the same in 6 years' time. So, yeah, we've always had a bit of a division, haven't we? We've had half our episodes been about our current life and half our episodes have been about stuff that we have no timestamp on them. So that's a fascinating thing to look back on, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. And we keep trying to encourage people to go back and check out things like our features that we are a bit less time dependent. But we know that's kind of a bit fiddly to get into just that topic as opposed to that monthly discussion. So hold that thought. Just lastly, we've also occasionally, a bit similar to what you just described though, we've picked out our favourite summer games or our favourite spooky games around Halloween. And those were fun as well, weren't they? Those were good episodes. Again, less time dependent, a bit more open to interpretation.
Yeah, I mean, Halloween was fun, wasn't it? We talked about Costume Quest 2, which is a proper Halloween type game. Sometimes it's been quite hard to pick them out because some games have lots of season dependent stuff. So, like for example, Fortnite, they have a Halloween spooky bits and they have Christmas spooky bits. But some games, depending on when they come out, obviously they don't want to tie it down to a particular season of the year because it will put people off playing it for the rest of the year. So most games are fairly generic, and occasionally it's only really the online multiplayer stuff that gets updated regularly. So we really had to rack our brain with some of them. Even the summer games, it's quite hard to find, and we're sort of reaching a little bit. And when I said the start of Plague Tale Rec Room, felt like a summer game because it was set in France and there were some plants. But okay. So yeah, if you enjoyed us reaching for those games, hopefully this time next year when we have a similar topic, we'll have thought of a few more.
Well, and you mentioned that. I was actually thinking when I was looking at the game of the month for this month, we should really do something Christmassy or wintry. And I was looking through the subscription services and I was like, it's quite a stretch, actually. Usually there's at least a snowboarding game or something you can rely on, but only a couple of sort of tangentially Christmas games. But again, I think we can talk about that in a future episode maybe. But yeah, as you mentioned, sometimes finding a topic each month can be of variable relevance, and so again, we'll be talking about what we're going to do going forward. Just before
having said that, PlayStation this month has got It Takes Two on it, which we've talked about before, and that's a perfect family type Christmas game because you play them sort of as a father and son combo, or a husband and wife combo, or a girl and boyfriend combo, or any member of your family can play that type of game. It's really easy to get into and really enjoyable. So that kind of does fit in with a sort of a family Christmas type theme. So the Aliens game, not quite so festive and not quite so family orientated. But that's the other thing that's coming out on PlayStation Plus this month.
Good point. Yes, we did skip that section today. It's been a bit freeform, so thank you for squeezing it in. So just on the year recap then, so we mentioned sound quality. We've added video, so hello to our video watchers as well as our audio listeners. We try and describe, paint pictures with words for you if you are just on audio. Still a great way to enjoy the show. We put the video up in full on YouTube now, as well as clip the main topics, and try and do some social stuff. Speaking of social media, James, you doing a great job on Facebook, and you added some TikTok stuff for us this year as well.
Yeah, love me a bit of TikTok now. I've spent a fair bit of time watching TikTok videos because you can just sit down for 5 minutes when you're relaxing and watch a bizarre sequence of videos that are completely unrelated to each other. It's fascinating. The TikTok algorithm is deeply fascinating. And I quite like posting our little clips on here because people like just watching 30 seconds of what we talk about. If they don't have time to watch the full 74-hour episode, then they can just watch 30 seconds of us gabbling away, looking pretty in our hats, and get lots of engagement. So I like TikTok, so it's good to be part of that one now. And I've always liked Facebook, so that's my history of face life. And also with your Meta headset now, you're deeply ingrained in the Facebook world.
Yeah, that was one of the cons, but you don't have to connect to your Facebook account now, so that's good. I don't get recommendations for people I want to spend time with in a virtual world. As you said, the answer is usually no one. Yeah. Cool. You added the website as well, so another shout out for akesandgames.co.uk.
Yeah, I've always liked websites. I've always had websites over the years. I like setting stuff up. I always get bored once I've set them up, but I love setting stuff up. That's just the way my brain works. But yeah, it's nice to have a physical presence on the web so you can go back with the evergreen stuff, like the gaming reviews and clips and stuff that sort of doesn't tie you down to a particular month of the year or a year of the life. So yeah, pop along to the website, lots of reviews, lots of memes and rubbish on there. It's good fun, good harmless fun. Pop along, do some stuff.
Good stuff. So listeners, that was our highlights. Let us know what yours are. If you have been listening since the start, thank you very much. If you're a recent listener, just joined us, then thank you as well. We do recommend checking out some of the previous episodes, but we really welcome new listeners as well. And I guess it's probably time to talk about the future, James. Should we answer that question? Is the podcast continuing? This could be awkward if you say no. Yes.
Yeah, why not? Go for it.
Let's do it. So another year. 4 more years in a movie. No, that's something else.
One more year. One more year.
We've settled at one. We'll decide again in a year's time. But yeah, we are going to make some changes, folks. So just want to quickly explain what we're going to do differently, why we're doing it, and how you will hopefully benefit from those changes. So basically, as you may have noticed, and today is a great example because I think we're at an hour and a quarter once we do a little bit of trimming from our waffle at the start. Episodes have got a bit longer, and they're a bit longer than we'd like. I think we talk about how we're quite time limited as slightly older gamers, whether that's family responsibilities or that's work. And so we know that you are too in terms of listening. So we really wanted to get those episodes to the 45-minute to an hour mark. That was the goal at the start. We enjoyed adding in our Game of the Month, which was another development during the year. But we have grown and grown, and we are getting longer in terms of months. We've also, if you've been picking up on the not so subtle hints in the last few minutes, we have also been very aware that some of our topics are a bit more non-time dependent, and we want people to be able to go and discover those and find those nice and easily if they're interested, if you're interested in what our favourite summer games are, or spooky games, or our memories of gaming past. We want those episodes to stand alone. So what we're planning to do is our monthly shows will stay. It'll be the Aches and Games Monthly. It'll be just what you know, first Friday of the month. Relax monthly check-in between us. We'll be talking about what we've been up to, the games we've been playing, our game of the month. It'll be and any news from that month. It'll be a very current episode. What we're then also going to do, so those episodes exactly as you are, same feed, first Friday of the month, 45 minutes to an hour. We will really try to hit that this time. But in addition, we're going to be doing the occasional special. So these will be on the same podcast feed. They'll be up on our YouTube channel. And these will be not every month, but we'd imagine somewhere between 4 and 6 a year. That gives us a chance to dive into a topic that we're interested in, that hopefully you're interested in, give it a bit more time, but also not reach for a topic when there's a month where maybe there isn't one. So again, we're just being fully transparent with you, thinking about you guys, thinking about ourselves a little bit as well. It gives us a chance to react to any big news or streams. We could react more quickly. So we just think it'll be a bit more flexible. So that's the plan. Happy with that, James?
I've got a great plan, Giles. Always happy with your plans.
It would be super awkward if you weren't, and you have had a chance at least to read the notes, so that sounds good. Our first special, folks, will be very soon. So it will be coming out just before or around New Year. You'll notice that is not too far off our next monthly episode, but it will publish before the next monthly episode. So look out for it. That's going to be, as we trailed earlier, our Games of the Year 2024. So expect a short, focused episode purely on our Games of the Year coming out on the same stream. We'll obviously talk about upcoming specials in each monthly episode. And then we'll be back for our January catch-up, talking about what we've been playing, talking about Indiana Jones, etc., in the usual way. And that will be the first Friday of the month, which happens to be Friday the 3rd. Very early, anyway.
Why not? Yeah.
So look out for both of those, and look out for our new approach. We'll be publicising it on socials. As I say, we'll mention it obviously in future episodes when there's a special coming up. And please let us know what you think. Hopefully you agree that that's a good step forward for the pod. Right, James, I think that's our show. Just to prove a point that episodes are getting longer, this is our longest ever now. And so listeners, please remember to like and subscribe to the podcast. Consider giving us a 5-star review. That really does help. I know we say it each month. It does. You see the spike in interest in terms of searches, in terms of it appearing on other people's homepages, that sort of nonsense. We also appreciate a follow on all social platforms. We've now got a more active presence on Blue Sky as well as Threads and the other one, plus a Facebook page that James does a great job on, or email us at akesandgamerspod@gmail.com. I'm Giles Nicholson, Giles went west, as you know. And how about you, James, to see us out for the month?
Yep. Also the TikTok, look up the TikTok. Lots of great stuff on the TikTok. Everyone loves a bit of TikTok. So quite excited with Christmas coming up. It's a lovely time of year. It's always my favourite time of year with Christmas. Although Josh is at a funny age this year and we've no idea what to get him. He doesn't know what he wants because he's literally a boy who has everything already, compared to me when I was his age, had nothing at all. But Bush has got literally everything already. So it's a tough time of year, but good fun. Lots of family around, lots of things to look forward to. Love it. Love is in the air. Love is all around. Love Actually. Good. How's the one? So have a great month, everyone. Find me on social media and all the places Joel just talked about, and also on You Have to Laugh if you want to. And friend request us on Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies /multiplayer, and we'll probably turn it down. But request us anyway. It's a nice thing to do.
If you're good and you're prepared to carry us through the game, we would very much appreciate that. So, as James said, give us a message and we'll join you and bring your average down. Sorry, James.
No, that's it. I was just going to say have a lovely Christmas, and we'll see everyone in the new year.
Yeah,
very exciting year. It's going to be the best year ever.
Oh, it's going to be great. Merry Christmas, everybody. See you next. See you for our next special on our feed, and see you next Friday, first Friday of the month next month for more Aches and Games. I'm off to get some mulled wine, I think. Take care, everybody.
See you in 2025.
Bye.